So, talking about friendships, friendship to me happens to be one of the most important things that humanity needs. We cannot overemphasize the importance of friendship, the value friendship, brings to our existence. And talking about Sparks and Blues, yes, what else can you really do without friendships? So your friends ideally are the people you should share your blue moments with, and at the same time, they are still the same set of people you should give updates about your sparks, your little wins, medium wins, and then when you even get the bigger ones, there's this energy that, some kind of friends would give that would just, bring out the best in you. When you're talking to them about your sparks, there's also this energy that they will bring when you are down, when you are low in your blue moments, and then they can hugely and largely support you, and you're able to pull through. So it's important that we safeguard our friendship systems. It's important that we ensure that our friendships are healthy and that they are ongoing. Today's systems are quite tough, and that's why the topic we want to talk about today is how exactly are you able to put up with your friendship systems in today's situation of living, which is largely digitalized, and largely focused on social spaces. How are people coping? How intense is it now to manage and to keep, or let me say, to retain friendship systems? People are migrating from one side of the world to another extreme, side of the world, and then people are losing their, let me call it, old time friends, or people they grew up together with, and then they are saddled with the challenges of making new friends. These things are becoming more intense, and people are really getting affected. Making new friends has become something that is not so easy for a lot of people, because it's not easy to build trust over time, and maintaining the relationship with the old ones to some people is also not easy. In Africa, there's this saying that says if you've not seen someone, like for a long time, you really cannot vouch for their character any longer. And then people become very careful. So it's so serious these days that the friendship corner has become something that is difficult to navigate. People are stressed out because of it. People don't have who to lean on. People don't have who to discuss their blue moments with. People don't have anybody to share their sparks with. It's that painful when you are going through beautiful things, beautiful experiences, happy moments, and you don't have this trusted, lovely group of people that you can, share those information with. It's also not such a pleasant experience. And that is why we're having this conversation today. So yes, I'll just delve into the fact that the reasons why a lot of friendship systems are challenged today boils down to, some factors that I have sort of ironed out, or let me say figured out, to talk to us about today. And some of these ones include, the first one that I have for us today includes digital dependency. Digital dependency is a big thing. It's really affecting the friendship circle these days. You see people, they call themselves friends, they don't even have each other's mobile numbers. Why? Because they are chatting on probably Snapchat, Instagram, and the rest. And then they feel so close, and something just sort of goes wrong somewhere. And by the time you begin to dig in, you find out that, oh, the whole relationship for 1 year, 2 years was, everything was virtual. They felt really close, but then it was all virtual. Comparing today's friendships with the days of analog systems, I personally feel, that those relationships were more intense. They were sort of closer. They gave like some kind of better vibes, for lack of a better word. For me, this is me talking about my own experience, where you could go to your friend's house, have sleepovers, you could go to your friends' houses, for parties, and you just sort of visit, and you could call a friend to say, oh, I'm coming to your city, Yeah, it still happens these days, but it's really limited. It's really lean and slim. People sort of focus more on, oh, why not? Let's hook up on WhatsApp. Why not? Let's hook up on Snapchat and, all those kinds of things. And people are really getting affected. People are also being careful the information they want to put out there on their Snapchat or on their WhatsApp, because they don't know your other friends that you might be sharing them with. So people are sort of cutting back on sharing information, cutting back on opening up with amongst people they still call their friends. So by and large, the digital space is definitely interfering with the quality of friendships that we are keeping these days. Changes occurring in life stages, which is phases of life, as we grow or as we increase or as we improve. That's the second point. So people are probably going to college. They are losing probably the friends they grew up with. People are changing jobs, getting married, changing location. And some feel, oh, my single friends are no longer qualified. And then things begin to happen. People migrate, and then they are no longer in touch with the people they grew up with or people they went to school with. And then they are saddled, of course, with the difficulties of making new friends that they can trust, and also feeling stressed about keeping their old relationships because they've not seen these people for a while. They are not sure, and all of those kinds of things. So relationships, friendships are, getting more affected these days. And these things are beginning to break people down, in blue ways, and giving them a lot of, blue moments when they go through little issues, as maybe work issues or some other kinds of issues, and there's absolutely just no one to speak to. You scroll through your phone based on what is going on. You cannot align it with any of the names you are saying on your phone, and you are not sure if you should go to WhatsApp with this close buddy of yours. And then you just stay like that, and you are stressed emotionally, you are getting emotionally drained, and you just don't know what to do. So these are some of the things that, I'm talking about today that are actually hindering quality friendships. So the first one, again, I said, is the digital space, the digital dependency. And then the second one is changes occurring in our lives or phases, that we are then sort of getting into. The third one I have for us today is cultural or global differences. This is also big. You cannot take away our cultural systems from us, or let me say global international differences. When people migrate or relocate, they have to learn new systems, new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things, and then it no longer aligns with the ways they used to do things with their other older friends. And then there could be hitches here and there. At some point I was speaking to some people, and I heard them say things like, oh, I'm no longer really interacting with those people. I feel they are not that exposed anymore. They relocated while the other guys are yet, like they were still back home. And they felt, I feel when I talk to them these days, I kind of feel that they are not exposed on these areas or in these aspects of life. And it sort of limits the way I think I can interact. And for those reasons, we are no longer close. So all these things begin to come up because people feel that, okay, I'm learning new stuff, I'm seeing new things, I feel more exposed, and all of those kinds of things. And they feel they can no longer, keep up with their friendship systems that were previously existing. And then they begin to have issues. Emotional burnout. That's the fourth one I have for you today. Emotional burnout simply means that do not, overpromise. Do not overcommit. Do not commit to things ordinarily you are unable to deliver on, like in a bid to be so sweet, in a bid to be so loving, or to sort of get new friends, especially, you tend to want to overpromise, to say, okay, I'm going to hang out with you, or I'm going to do this with you, whereas you probably cannot meet up, or I'm going to be part of the people that will be buying, this category of vehicles. We are friends, we should be driving these kinds of cars. You are changing your status, your class to suit your new category of friends, whereas in real life, you actually cannot meet up. And then you have to go through this emotional burnout of when you are alone with your reality, saddled with it. You are thinking, oh, how am I going to cope? These guys want us to start driving probably a Lamborghini, whereas your capacity is probably a Toyota. And then And they just tell you can buy it, you earn this, let's do the maths, and and then you delve in, you go into bad credits, and you begin to have emotional burnouts. So these are things that are affecting friendships today, and it's important that we are careful. It's important that we are really mindful of them to ensure that our friendships stay intact, they stay healthy. We don't overtly go out of our way and then end up in the negative route of things. So I will then share with us today some ways through which we can mitigate these experiences, ways through which we can manage these experiences and ensure that despite locations and time zones or whatever it could be, we are still keeping up with our friendships, because whether we like it or not, friendships are a part of humanity. They are so important, they are so critical, and it's important that we manage them well. We manage them in a positive way so they don't hinder our progress, or they don't sort of affect us in some other type of way that we wouldn't be happy about. Yeah, so one of the first ones I have for us today is intentionality. It's important that you're intentional about your friendships. If you feel that you're able to call somebody your friend, yeah, because really, what is friendship? A friend is that person you are still able to like or love despite their shortcomings. You are aware of their shortcomings. You are aware of whatever it is. However, you've accepted those things. There are things you think you can deal with, and then they are your friends. So you have to be intentional about them. If they are not reaching out, you need to check. Don't be that friend that checks on people because you want to turn yourself into a monitoring spirit. Be that friend that checks on people with love. Be intentional about it. I want to keep up. I want this loop to continue to roll in a healthy way. I don't want it to have clogs here and there. And that is the major reason why you should be keeping up. So keep up with your friends, reach out, drop that text message. I'm just checking in. I've not heard from you in a couple of, weeks and things like that, depending on the duration of how you normally interact. So check and ensure that it's not spilling over and everybody's quiet. People could be going through issues and they just feel unfit to talk about them. So it's important that if you consider them your friends, you reach out, be intentional about the relationship, which is the friendship, and ensure that it survives the trial moments or the trial times as well, because you will be needing it. Dumping your relationship or thinking you no longer need them is a very unwise decision to make. The second one for me, which I consider quite big, is communication. You have to ensure that you are communicating appropriately, you are communicating right, you are able to give feedback, you are able to give responses when they are required. You are able to provide clarifications where your other friends feel ambiguous about what you've just said or the communication you are passing around. So you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to ensure that your communication it's clear, and it's well received, and people are feeling mutually involved, in the friendship. Then of course we cannot overemphasize the importance of mutual respect in relationship. We need to ensure that we are respecting the boundaries that we must have created, that we require. The fact that we are friends doesn't necessarily mean we don't have boundaries, or we don't have areas where we are not putting on the friendship space. So we should respect those boundaries and ensure that things are kept in a very healthy way. Yeah, so these three things, I'll just repeat them. You need to be intentional to maintain your friendships. You need to communicate clearly, avoid ambiguities, and always ensure you are ready to deliver clarifications where needed. And of course, mutual respect, especially with regards to boundaries. If we're able to do these things, on a large scale, you'll see that your friendship zones will be healthy, they'll be maintained, and then you will continue, to have them as long as, you live. And like I said earlier when I started, we cannot overemphasize the importance of our friendship circles, because they are the ones that would help us pull through the blue moments, and they are the same people we are still going to celebrate our sparks with. So why not? Thank you guys for listening.